Deeds and transfer. A deed is a piece of paper. It transfers a concept of ownership called title. Title is abstract. You can't touch it.
You can't touch this.
You can't put your hand on it.
You can't touch this.
But a deed, you can, because it's a piece of paper. A deed must have certain items in it in order to effectively transfer title. If you have a piece of paper and it's blank, obviously that won't do you any good. A deed must be in writing. It must have in the deed the intent of grantor. And this is demonstrated by words of conveyance, also called a granting clause. A deed must have the signature of the grantor. That's the giver of the deed. That's the only person that has to sign it. And then it must be delivered with the intent of actually transferring title. Delivery could be actual delivery, where you hand it to someone. It may also be constructive delivery, where it's recorded in a county record. Or it might be third-party delivery, where we put it into an escrow. If a deed is put into escrow like that, deeds must be delivered during the lifetime of the grantor. So if delivered into an escrow when the grantor is living and then subsequently the grantor dies, 2 or 3 years later, the transfer is supposed to take place according to the escrow instructions, that's still okay because of a concept called the doctrine of relation back. We relate back to the day the escrow was opened, and if the grantor was alive on that day, then that's still a valid transfer. Things that are not necessary to make a deed valid, that are very important, are the signature of grantee. This is the number one wake-up item. Grantees, the receiver of the deed, do not have to sign the deed anywhere at all. Quitclaim deeds are deeds that make no promises. General warranty deeds are deeds that make the most promises. All types of deeds, whether they're quitclaim deeds, gift deeds, executor deeds, administrator deeds, or general warranty deeds, all these deeds can transfer good title, or they can transfer bogus title. They can transfer title that doesn't quite make it. The type of deed does not affect the nature of the title that you're getting. The only difference in different deeds are the promises that the grantor is making to the grantee. On the general warranty deed, the grantor makes 5 covenants. Covenant of season, meaning you're fully possessed of the property and have the right to transfer it. Covenant against encumbrances, meaning that there are no encumbrances, either financial or non-financial, against this property that have not been disclosed in the deed itself. Covenant of quiet enjoyment, covenant of further assurance, and covenant of warranty forever. These are the 5 covenants of a warranty deed. You need to be familiar with those. There's another type of deed called a special warranty deed. These deeds are favored by banks that are selling REOs, or perhaps other individuals that want to make some promises but only limited promises. The promises in a special warranty deed generally only apply to the period of ownership in which the grantor owned the property themselves. A general warranty deed covers the period of ownership from the grantor's ownership all the way back to the original government land patent deed or patent deed. So they limit their liability with a special warranty deed, and sometimes it also limits the number of covenants that are given. A patent deed, as I mentioned a moment ago, is a government deed, and it's used when a property is taken out of the public domain and put into private ownership. Now, sometimes property is transferred by devise or descent. If a person dies with a will, it's said that they died testate. If they died without a will, they died intestate. A person named in a will to handle the transfer and the settlement of an estate is called an executor. If you left no will or failed to name an executor or your executor is dead, then the court can set a person up to administer the will, and that's called an administrator. So, executors are named in a will, an administrator is named by a court. Nuncupative will is a will that is verbal, and generally it will only transfer a limited amount of personal property. Holographic will is a will that is done in the original handwriting of the decedent, the person that died. And a codicil is a change in a will.